A lot of news has been coming out. The season is done, as I've said many a time. Arsenal need to be barky and active in this transfer window. And Gonna blog, James McNicholas has dropped a transfer update deal sheet article on the Athletic, and we're just gonna go through it, look at any key points, any key noticeable and interesting things that we can talk about, give my thoughts on it. If you're new returning and you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I'm gonna go to 1,000 subs. Smash that like button; it really helps the algorithm of this video. And comment down below anything, as I said. So just going through the article, he talks about who are the key decision makers, and obviously he specifies that obviously Andre Berta, being the new sporting director, adds another layer of intrigue. I remember Arteta talking in a previous press conference that there hasn't been no major disagreements. He's come in terms of the already made transfer plans, and you can guarantee that if there are disagreements, probably just clear that they haven't explained themselves well enough. But we know Berta's in. He's got experience from Atletico Madrid. He's got that aura. I can just tell. Yeah, that aura. I see it from him. He's got the links, and I'm hoping that he can be the main difference that Edu wasn't able to do. Now that we're at that stage where we need to kind of sign big top players, and you're dealing with tough agents and tough asking prices and stuff like that. So, what positions will Arsenal be looking at? It's no secret, as it says, that Arsenal will be the number 9, as we know, and I've spoken about many times on my channel. And obviously, we left that position short last summer, which I think was an error, and again in the winter transfer window, which was an error again, as we saw going into Champions League semi-final. So we have to address it this summer. As we already know, Jorginho is going to be leaving the club, and Zubimendi is going to kind of replace his position. They're very, very similar. I would say that Zubimendi's a baby Jorginho. That's still just pending a medical. I think it's been delayed because Sociedad want to add it as part of their financial year for the next year, which I think starts after June, which is why the deal has been delayed. If not, I'm pretty sure that they would have already been agreed. Arsenal are good negotiators. That they know they got the player, so why force anything? Arsenal are always also interested in finding other ways to augment their attacking threat, perhaps through another wide player. Whilst there's been a lot of speculation about a left flank, Arsenal may need an option on the right. We already know Sterling is out. It hasn't been officially said yet, but we know Sterling is gone. And we know that Ethan has played there this season. But in the long term, he's been earmarked for a central role, which I love that he's put in here, knowing that Ethan, I think he's a 10. He's our only natural 10 in the club at the moment. Obviously, if you don't count Downham and Vieira, whose future is unsure. But we know Ethan has the talent to be all-world. And I want him to be using that area. I don't think he's a winger. It doesn't mean he can't turn into one, but I just don't think he is one. So it's nice to see that we're thinking about a player that could potentially play on both sides. If we're recruiting a left winger, we've got to probably know that it can be used on the right. Other wide suggestions, if we're going based on that, like you got the likes of Kudus, you got Nico Williams, you got Badly Barcola, Rodrigo, Sane to an extent, Gordon, that can play both sides. My dream left wing signing, as you guys know, what channel is Rafael Leao. Very controversial, but I think he has that superstardom that can come in and add that effect. Obviously, the club are targeting a new goalkeeper. We know Garcia is going to Barcelona, or soon to be agreed. That was Arsenal's. It seemed to be Arsenal's second goalkeeper wrapped up from all the way last summer, but typical Arsenal. So we have to find a position with a keeper for that position. We know Neto is going to be going back to Bournemouth, and yeah, when you think about it, I had a choice of, do we save money and maybe bring in someone like Karl Hein back, who I think is a very good goalkeeper, would be definitely a very good number 2, but that limits his growth. He's only had one full season now playing, pro football, playing main football, playing game after game. Does he want to lose that just to play at Arsenal, just to play a couple of games here and there? Or do we go for a more experienced keeper, someone like Lunin at Madrid, now that they're going to be going for, obviously they got Courtois? Or do you go for a Kepa, Balaga is going back to Chelsea, Petrovic maybe, that type, essentially. He said Arsenal also explored the signing of a young centre-half to complement, William Saliba and Gabriel, probably more William Saliba. They considered interest in Victor Reis, I think that's how you say it, but obviously he's at Man City, and then obviously Dean Hodgson, who's now agreed deal to go to Real Madrid. So if Arsenal can identify a central defender of similar promise, they may pounce. Other names that are in there that I know that I like, obviously Diomande has been a long-term target for me. He might be the most costly out of them. I think he's only 20, probably 21 or 22 now. Other ones are obviously Mosquera that we were linked with, that plays for Valencia, and Jeremy Jacquet that plays for Rouen. Obviously he was on loan at Clermont this season, but he's a very, very quality player, 19 years old, French international. You know what I'm saying? Another Saliba? Possible. What's the manager's priority? As it says Arsenal. Arteta has spoken about his desire to increase the size of the squad and described last season's group as being super short in terms of numbers. As stated above, in positional needs, a centre forward is likely. Arteta was pushing for the sign of Ollie Watkins, and there's concerns about his price tag. I doubt that he will return for Ollie Watkins, but maybe like the fourth choice striker. Obviously, centre forward is the main thing. Obviously, Newcastle's Isak, with them getting Champions League, with the fact that obviously they can offer him a new deal. He doesn't. I don't think he's forcing a move, and I don't think Newcastle are gonna, try and make him, up for sale. So I always say it boils down to Sesko and Gyökeres. Obviously, with Sesko, as it says here, Leipzig want to early sell because they want to count it as part of their books for this calendar year, which means why they might be accelerating the move maybe. We also know they didn't qualify for Champions League. They had a poor season, so they want to use those funds to, fund a rebuild, knowing that there's a lot of teams in for a lot of talents this year, so they need to kind of move early. Obviously, with Gyökeres, that's probably more of the cheaper overall package. But I definitely know. In my choice, I think Arsenal's first choice is Sesko. Given the conditions, I know originally first choice would have been Isak, but definitely Sesko. And Gyökeres is a cost-effective signing. Definitely has his pros and the fact that he scores goals. But I think in terms of just the long-term fit, someone that will boom and be that maybe best in the world at a certain time, I think Sesko is that. And yeah, they said Arsenal are interested in Sane. Obviously, in terms of wide areas, they explored options. Obviously, it looks like Sane is more than likely going to be signing at Bayern. But if he doesn't, Arsenal are option there. I don't want us to be a second option for a free candidate. And I don't mind the Sane thing. Reading this earlier up in this article, talked about we need coverage on the right. So maybe you get Sane in free, decent wages, you can still get that left winger because you didn't display, a transfer fee for him. But still, that's in the bag. Obviously, we know about Brian and Bromo, but he's going to Man United, or he said his preference is, reported by David Ornstein. Nico Williams has been a long-term target for Arsenal in that left wing area. Something I think Arsenal probably will try and move to, but his wages over 300k plus for someone who only got, I think, about 5 or 6 La Liga goals last season, kind of had a dip in his season, and the agency he has, I think, are making the deal very tough. Bilbao want the release cost paid in full. So I'm not really sure about this. Too tough, in my opinion. And obviously, Anthony Gordon will probably cost a huge fee. So that's, just in terms of the incomings. Arsenal want a left winger, clearly. We want a backup goalkeeper. We want a striker. We're getting in Zubimendi for that 6th position to compete and obviously replace Jorginho. And obviously, we want to sign potentially a young centre back to provide coverage and competition for, Saliba more than Gabriel, because we've got, Carlo Fiori and we've got Kivio in that left centre back position. Who are we looking to sell? Obviously, players that we're looking to sell, they probably fall under the likes of Zinni, because obviously, as it says, with Lewis Scully's emergence, Calafiori being signed, he's done a pecking order. Sambi Lokonga, he's deal got renewed recently, or 1 year deal was ending this summer. So just to kind of allow us to get a price for him. Reece Nelson, kind of an injury-ridden season, recovered from that hamstring. I don't think he stays at Arsenal. Fabrizio Vieira, I think that's probably the only one in this list that I think at least we'll get the pre-season to see how he is, because I think he had a decent spell at Porto this loan, and it was a dry loan, no obligation or anything like that. Carl Hein as well, as I mentioned, would he be considered for the second goalkeeper? At the same time, though, he would want to play first team football. What moves have been already made? As you know, Jorginho and Tierney obviously are going to go to Flamengo and Celtic respectively, and obviously Arsenal are in a good place in their PSR. They obviously have been compliant with PSR and obviously the UEFA rules, and realistically, with the sales of Eddie Nketiah, ESR and Ramsdale last summer, we've put ourselves in a position where we can be flexible. So if all of this being said, Arsenal ain't got no excuse. I affirmed last summer and the bullshit we had. I affirmed this January the bullshit we have. Get the deals done, and then you give yourself opportunity with some sales. Do you get a player like Eze as a magic buy? Do you get another player in another position? Come on, Arsenal, man. So that's just my thoughts so far. Interesting what he said, especially about the young centre back. So comment down below what you think about the article, what you think about what I've said. Let me know what players you want to buy off the list that I've suggested, or are there any other suggestions? Like this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Speak to you guys very soon.